Ooh, here's another rail spike. Awesome.
Hey folks, I'm out here walking down the railroad again, collecting rail spikes. And you might ask, why am I collecting them? Well, because it's fun. First of all, it's fun to have a sort of task to do as you walk. And because I want to see if I can make them into furniture, if I find someone who has a welding setup. And third, collecting is just a sort of human thing. I don't know why we do it. I don't know why people love jewelry. It's just shiny rocks, right? Shiny, somewhat rare rocks. People collect coins, they collect stamps, they collect animals, I guess. There's some people who collect animals, I'm sure. People collect everything. So why do humans collect things? I don't know if it's some sort of instinct to keep things organized. So when we have a camp set up in the wilderness somewhere, it doesn't get too dirty. Or if it's just some tiny part of our monkey brain saying, ooh, cool object, I'll take. But it's fun to do. Every kid has kept a collection of cool looking rocks. And then if you see them later, if you somehow manage to keep that till you're an adult, you look and say, oh, it's just like a bunch of bloody pebbles. I don't know why I had that. But when I was a kid, maybe because I grew up in a household that was half Christian and half Jewish, one holiday I got given a little toy bank, which is probably the most Jewish gift you could possibly receive. And it was just a plastic bank. You'd put coins and bills into it and click buttons saying how much they were worth, and the bank would sort of add it up for you and keep a balance. It broke pretty fast. And that was okay because I was a kid. I was poor as shit. I didn't have much money to put in there. So pretty quickly it devolved into not just American money, it was whatever cool coins I could find. I had Canadian coins, I had pesos, I had some weird euro coins and the Japanese ones with holes in them. And of course, I didn't have many of those either. I was poor, I was a kid. So shiny rocks started going in. All sorts of weird stuff. And I have no idea where that bank is now. It could be in an attic somewhere in a family house. It could have just gotten lost over time. I don't know. But the fun part was just collecting it, and then every once in a while dumping it out and saying, ooh, look at all the cool things I have. Look at this coin, it might be expensive. And there was another thing. My brother and I growing up would occasionally just find a bunch of pennies or buy one of those 500 penny things that you buy for $5 and look through them looking for, let's say, like a 1912 penny where the Lincoln head is facing the wrong way. Only 66 were made and they could sell for $20,000 to a collector. Why would someone pay that much money for a random misprinted coin that's worth literally a penny? Who knows? People like collecting things. If someone buys a penny or a quarter that's rare and valuable, it's just go sit in a glass box and a few people will look at it like, why are they paying that much for it? Who knows? But collecting. I think the most recent collection I made was actually for a class back when I was in college. This must have been 5 or 6 years ago at least. I was afraid of bugs, so I forced myself to sort of jump in there, immersion therapy, and I took Bugs and People, which was a class about everything insect. And I liked it actually. We ended up, there was a homework thing for extra credit where you had to bring in a bug. My degree path was forest management, so I was out in the woods all the time. I'd just take a Tupperware with me in my backpack. If I saw a bug, I'd toss it in. Eventually I got one of those cool little terrarium things, filled it up with dirt and plants and water features, and I had like a little jungle going in my room. Just like a 2x1 terrarium, I guess. But it was fun because you could look in there. It's not like keeping a hamster or a lizard which just sits there and does nothing. There must have been 50 different living things inside there all interacting with each other, which is a much cooler thing to have in the room than any other boring pet. Eventually, it was time to turn in the bug for extra credit, and I had 30 or 40 of them at that point. So I had the wonderful task of going out into the woods with my terrarium. Fortunately, the woods are right behind the dorm I lived in. And dumping them all out, trying not to get bitten by the centipedes, digging through the dirt to find them all. Then I brought them in, and it turned out only a few people had done that. It's probably the easiest extra credit of any class ever. But the TA was there that day, not the teacher, and the TA was like, yeah, you brought in 30, you just give one to everyone. Everyone gets extra credit. Woo! I wouldn't call that a collection, really. It was more like a visual art. The last actual collection I did is related to that. That class was a prerequisite for entomology. If you've been in a university and you see people running around with butterfly nets, those people are in entomology. That's the class where you actually learn about bugs, like scientifically, the orders, the species, all that. And you run around and collect them, put them in a jar full of weird chemicals that kills them, then stick pins through them and put them on a board. That was the collection we all had to make. I forget how many bugs were in that collection. I know it was quite a few, and that some of the species were impossible to find. It was hard to find the silverfish at short notice. It is... you can find them any other time when you don't want to see them, but if you suddenly need them for part of your grade in a class, nowhere to be found. But that was an enjoyable activity. If I had a couple hours to kill, normally going for a hike in the woods, I need to cycle out there. I need to find a friend who wants to go, or just do it by myself. I've been there before, it could be boring. But if I bring a Tupperware with me, and I have a task, like a little checklist, like I need this species, this order, suddenly it's a lot more fun. I'm hiking through the woods, I'm flipping logs over. Actually, those words I was hiking through, there's another class going on out there called forensic entomology. I was never part of that. That was my last bug class. I went back to forestry stuff. The forensic entomology was like, if someone has died, we need to measure what bugs are on them in different days after their death so we can help the police establish the time of death. So they obviously can't leave a person's body out there. They do that in some places, like research labs, but not at University of Florida campus. So they left a dead pig in the woods inside a cage, and they go out and measure what bugs are on it at different times. And you could smell this pig for 100, 200 yards around in any direction. The most recent experience I have with that was I was hiking from Orlando to Gainesville. I came across a dead bear, black bear, maybe 4 or 5 feet long. At first I didn't know it was dead. I was walking, it was almost nighttime. I saw this bear laying on his back. I was like, oop, no. I have a tiny little fishing knife on me. I had nothing at the time. So I set down my backpack past the bear. I crept towards it. And then I realized, oh, this thing is not alive. It is very much dead. Covered in bugs and stuff. It must have been hit by a car and wandered off into the woods. It was just like a couple 100 yards in. But that's probably the nastiest thing I've ever seen and smelled, because the bugs were on it. There are beetles, flies, maggots, everything. Not for the faint of heart. But anyway, collections. Railway spikes is sort of a fun one, because I just went on Etsy the other day, and you'd be amazed at the price of furniture made out of railroad spikes. It's in the multiple thousands of dollars. The railroad spikes are cheap. I have no idea if the process to get the rust off is super expensive, or if a welding time is like $1,000 per hour or something. I don't know, but it was mad expensive. Collecting bugs for a class, that was sort of cool. You ended up with like a box full of these shiny, many-colored things with pins and labels stuck in them. That's pretty cool for like ooh, I found another one. That's pretty cool for like a thing to have in your room. I didn't keep mine because I knew I was going to be traveling, but it's a cool thing to have around. Coins, a bit less so. They're expensive and they're just like, you know, it's a coin. Incredible. Stamps, I know I'm going to be insulting like 3 or 4 people here in the entire world's population, but I can't imagine anything less exciting than collecting stamps. Like, geez, that is a hobby, I guess. Get to all the new collection things, and I have not seen many people with these because I guess my friend group is a bit more outdoorsy, but funko-pops and figurines, and ooh, I think that's a red flag when you walk into a guy's house and you see 100 funko-pops there. That's don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's a hobby, at least. That is true. It's better than watching Netflix or jerking off all day. But jeez, it's a tough one. Anyway, now that I've insulted a few niche groups of people, the path I'm walking on is getting a bit more hard to walk on without looking at it. So I'm gonna sign off. Hope you have a great day, folks. If it's still holidays, have a happy holidays. Otherwise, peace. Wait, folks, actually there's a little postscript to this movie. I'm walking out here on this railroad looking for railroad spikes. When I say looking for them, these are the ones that are still on the railroad. This thing's been pounded in with a sledgehammer. It's not coming out unless a train goes over this rail a bunch and sort of shakes it out. The ones I'm looking for are all the ones sort of in the rocks and in the dirt nearby. I'm not stealing. I'm not going to derail any trains. I'm not actually taking them off the rails. Just thought I'd put that in there in case somehow there is a police officer watching this video. All right, folks, have a great day. Bye.